came to St. John the Baptist when he was in prison and asked him whether Jesus Christ was the one to follow. It was somehow fitting that this particular Gospel reading popped up today, because we were asked some questions this week about why it would not have been possible for some particular carpenter or somebody like that to come and preach the word of God and capture people for the kingdom of heaven. I hope that every one of you knows how to give a good answer to that sort of thing. Because many times in the Bible, it is written how the Lord sent different prophets, teachers, judges, kings, queens, righteous ones, all sorts, miracle workers, zealots for the true faith, to explain to the people the righteousness of God. And in nearly all of those cases, nearly all, those people that came were destroyed, because the ones that heard it didn't want to hear those sorts of things. When Christ came, finally, as incarnate God, he basically repeated all those sorts of things that were said by the prophets. People that heard him added, but this one speaks with authority. In other words, it shook their hearts somehow when they heard him. And therefore, more and more began to follow him, understanding that he had that which none of the others that came before had. The ones that we call upon that came before, the forerunners of the New Testament. Some people say that this New Testament burst upon the world in such an unimaginable way that it really took everybody by surprise. To you and I, who have read this many times, we start to take it for granted. And one of the possibly lamentable things of this is that when we start to take these things for granted, we don't share it with others. Or we assume that others know as well. They don't. Those of you with little children, and you have been telling them about salvation or whatever, ask them simple questions. Who was Jonah? Who was Christ? Simple things. What did he do? And see what sort of answers you get. And isn't it strange that that was the main question that the apostles wanted to hear from St. John the Baptist? They wanted to know, who is this Christ? Is he the Son of God, or do we seek another? I think about 90% of questions and letters that priests receive, somehow deep down, are bound up with this, that the person has not grasped the fact about who is Christ. they have not really grasped. Oh yes, God incarnate, yes, okay, the Son of God, good, it's great. But it doesn't hit them that he has become of our, would you say, species, or what was the word? Species. All of us are species. One of us. It doesn't seem to hit people. That God is one of us. A species of us. And how could he possibly allow his species and the incredible aspects of creation that he brings from within us to perish for eternity? Yes, we all cross two thresholds, one at birth, one at death. And that one of death does not end with our elimination, but on the contrary, if we have been walking in the world, hanging on to Christ's hand, then we will see and partake a world that is indescribable. I can't say anything to you about it. From the saints that I have read, that have seen some of the heavenly realm, like say Fresenius the Cook, for example, he said you can't possibly describe what he saw. St. Paul does the same when he says that he knows a man that was taken up to the seventh heaven and couldn't understand all the sort of things that he saw. Something very, very incredible. And again, I only have to repeat that. You yourselves have to repeat that understanding through your study of theology, who is Christ. And you have to repeat to the children, or to whoever you have access to, as some sort of mentor or uncle or teacher or godfather or anything like this, the same thing again and again and again. Because the world steals that away all the time. All the time. They won't deny that Christ came. They'll say he was some rebellious carpenter that the Romans finally caught up with and got rid of him. And that the rest is just a myth. And what's going to happen in the future in the way that things are going? Because more pressure is put upon us from every single aspect to deny that Christ is one of us and also God. Young kids are having their heads cut off for that right now. The world. Zooming into heaven, you could say, with those sorts of things happening. What are they seeking? All of them? Peace. Some sort of peace. Remember, some time ago I said to you that there were two types of things that we call peace. The Orthodox peace, and the Judeo-Masonic peace, shalom. One is the peace that Christ gives to those who follow him. And no matter what happens around them and no matter what situation they find themselves in, that peace reigns and allows them to live, even though this is a fallen world, and in time they too will have to go to the heavenly realm. The other one, the shalom, is all about the establishment of the pleasures of the world. If you look into some of the really rich people in the world today, see the homes they live in and the cars they drive and the planes and the possessions that they possess and how they entertain themselves, you think these people have actually run out of finding ways to find pleasure. Something more they can have. If all their bodily needs are fulfilled and their external needs are all fulfilled, then how are they sort of able to be living with a joy in their heart? And I tell you that most don't. They suicide, all sorts of stupid things, because they've run out of ways to thrill themselves. There's only so much you can really do if you had enough money. And what would you do? Pay off all your bills, of course. And what? You see, the whole thing is much deeper than this. We have to join ourselves to Christ. And so I think we just read that doing works, external works, which the world calls the social gospel, is not what Christ came to give to us. On the contrary, he said, the poor will be always with you. If people rushed and went to the whole cycle of services, as much as was in their power, every day, within a very, very short time, there would be no people with needs in the world. Because we take too much upon ourselves. We think that by going out and, getting involved with charitable organisations and all this, we're doing some fantastic work for God. You're hopping out a little bit. But that's not the point. If all those people would come and pray, that would be a different thing altogether. So great is the Lord's desire for us to acknowledge him and to stand before him and to hang on to his hem, rather than with our own minds going out and seeing how we can fix the world using our own fallen judgment. He can fix it, and he can fix it very quickly. And there are many examples where that is happening. In your own lives, first of all, find that you're in need as an individual. Then find it in your family and with your children and with the church. And never let that sever occur from that ever under any circumstances. Never. If there is in your lives something that's going to sever that, walk away from it and don't be guilty about it. Because your soul is worth more than all those activities and all those tryings to do something with our fallen human body. Put it into God's hands and you'll see miraculous ways that can come about. God help you, preserve and protect you. The icon that we have today put out is Saint Olga, grandmother of Saint Vladimir. And there's a large icon there of Saint Vladimir. Only 3 of those types, which our deacon will tell you about later. As you know, Saint Vladimir is the one who brought Orthodoxy to Russia. Well, how come his grandmother was Orthodox already? Where did that come from? Where did that come from? If the grandmother was already Orthodox, must have come from somewhere. We believe from wandering Celtic missionary monastics, particularly around the area of Novgorod, where you see very clearly the artwork in the field as if you could be in some parts of Ireland or